The Apple iPad Pro isn't pro at all, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you found this video by it being suggested, I do all things related to Apple, the good and the bad. If that sounds like your thing, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. More importantly, ring that notification bell so you won't miss my next video when I post it. Thank you.
Imagine with me for a minute, you're a film director or an editor, and you see the Apple announcement with people using the iPad Pro for shooting movies or editing them. You think,
for some reason, we should get these, with the intent to move production to these smaller, lighter options. So you use it once, and only once, because you find that there are some serious limitations and you realize that nothing can replace a professional cinema camera or an actual editing rig. So it sits on the shelf, and all you use it for is YouTube, email, Twitter, and watching movies. It isn't a surprise at all to those who hate Apple or are even a staunch user. They single-handedly ruined the term pro for the foreseeable future. At this point, it's as common as a horrible choice phone companies have made just to add a number to their newest device each year.
iPhone 4, iPhone 7, is iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Pro, and
unless you're skipping around because marketing.
this is iPhone 10.
Now, the original iPad was first introduced in 2010, and yes, it was met with a ton of criticism. It's too heavy, no flash support, rip flash, limited multitasking, and an on-screen keyboard that can't replace a physical keyboard. It's not a production device. It's purely for consumption. Oh, and my favorite, no camera. God, I wish they never put a camera in those things. No, bad iPad user. The first Pro iPad was introduced in late 2015 with a 12.9-inch display and storage configurations from 32, 128, to 256 gigs, and of course with 4 gigs of RAM. And you also had the choice of Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi with cellular. Prices range from $799 to $1299. Let's also not forget the 7.9-inch Pro version, which actually came out about 5 months later. I do have a side note here. The 12-inch MacBook, which also existed at the exact same time, started at $1299 with 256 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, and an internal HD graphics card 5300. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that right there for now. We'll be back. At this point, the original iPad was already on its 4th generation. Now, you might be thinking, but Mike, you said the original iPad was released in 2010. That math doesn't work. Well, kids, this was a time where Apple wasn't updating everything every year. Fun fact, Apple actually released the 4th generation iPad in 2012.
We're sitting here today, just over half a year later, to talk about the 4th generation iPad.
Just 3 years after the original. Yep, the 3rd generation came out in March of 2012, and the 4th generation hit in October of 2012. Talk about some pissed off 3rd gen iPad owners. And I thought I had a complaint with the Mac Studio.
I got no respect at all, you know?
It was no secret that iPad's game was, well, let's say, all over the place. We had the original, the Mini, the Air, and now the Pros. Oddly enough, these are all still around today in some form, when at some point it was thought the only iPad that would be left standing were the Pros, and the Mini. Now, the rumors went rampant over the years about the demise of each iPad in its own category. But here we are. So back to the topic at hand. What is so pro about this new iPad that would make pros want to buy it? Let me think. Larger screen, it was super high res, more powerful. Oh, and the Apple Pencil. That makes things pro, right? Compared to what was updated at the time, we had an iPad mini, a year-old iPad Air, and this new iPad that was Pro. Thanks to the Wayback Machine, we can see how Apple was pushing this iPad Pro.
It's super. Computer. The iPad Pro is more than the next generation of iPad. The Retina display, an awesome display of progress. A color standard big enough for Hollywood. Faster than a speeding laptop.
I can't, I'm sorry. It's just too funny reading that now. So, how has the Pro changed since we're now on the 6th generation? More powerful? Check. Better displays? Check. Better cameras? Check. More expensive? Check. Oh, wait. Sorry, I don't know how that got in there. Higher storage and RAM? Check, check. A better pencil? Check. And that cool new design which eliminated the home button that everybody loved, but it was a good change. Check. That is copied on every iPad now. So, half a check? That doesn't sound like it's got much of a Pro advantage over the rest of the lineup. From the early days of the iPad, critics not only said it wasn't a production machine, but it needs a form of Mac OS to be considered a serious contender. So many people were begging for it then, and they're still begging for that now. We also kept asking, when's it gonna get something like Final Cut? So we say we're gonna edit on it and probably never will. Now, of course, Apple did announce Final Cut and Logic apps for the iPad this year. Of course, not all the iPads, just the ones with the M1 chip and higher. The functionality on paper for Final Cut looks absolutely awesome, but it certainly has some serious limitations.
External storage.
Sorry. I want to do a video on my experience with it so far. Would you like that? Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and leave any comments with any questions you have. Look, the iPad probably won't ever get a Mac OS style system, and this is why. The MacBook would start losing its reasons for being there for people who want the power of a Mac OS. I mean, there are other things too, but this is the most major one. The same thing goes for MacBooks. If they got a touchscreen or cellular service, that would seriously kill the market for the iPad. Well, the Pro line at least. The iPads cost just as much now, if not more, than some MacBooks and don't offer so many of the things that make it worth that money. Don't believe me? Well, now you're going to find out why I mentioned this earlier. As of today, comparing apples to apples, no pun intended, the brand new 15-inch MacBook Air with M2 chip, 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, 8 gigs of RAM, and 256 gigs of storage, $1,299. The iPad Pro 12.9 inch, same M2 chip, same CPU, GPU, and RAM, with a 256 gig storage option. This comes in at $1,199. $100 cheaper, Mike, right? Hold on. Do you want that pencil because you got a touchscreen, you can do cool things with it? That's $129. Now I know what you're thinking. Mike, this isn't something I can use on the MacBook, so you said apples to apples. This is clickbait.
Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend.
Hold on. You know what? Fine. You got me. But wait.
But wait, it gets worse.
You still need a physical keyboard, but not just any keyboard. You need the Magic Keyboard. I mean, that would be apples to apples, right? It's okay. This only comes in at $349. So we're now at $1,548, not including your pencil.
Boom. Roasted.
I could go on, but I think I've made my point. The iPad Pros are not pro devices. They're a fantastic luxury consumer web service device. It's nothing more than a marketing gimmick that Apple uses so we'll spend more money. Can you do things on it that other tablets can't? Absolutely yes. Are they awesome for pretty much everything else consumption-wise?
Yes!
Do they look good, work good, and make things easier on a bigger screen than a phone?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
But they are not professional machines.
Sure, Jan.
In fact, has Apple ever used the full word professional when describing these? Do they even mean the same thing when they say pro? Is it more like pros and cons? Like this is the pro choice compared to what's out there that has cons?
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
You know what? I think that's a topic for another video. While I work on those videos, check out why I bought the M1 MacBook Pro right here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you won't miss the next video. See ya.